In English, you translate assassin, killer. You know, you have a killer spaghetti. That's what it actually means. Okay, so put the garlic in there. Then you put your oil, a touch of chili. You can use fresh chili or you can use dry chili, whatever you fancy. Okay, as soon as the garlic starts to sizzle, in there with the tomato sauce, not too much. You just want to make the base of the tomato sauce. As soon as the tomatoes start to sizzle, now is going to be the time to put the spaghetti in there. Very gently. You need to make sure that you coat the spaghetti with tomato. Now, look what's happening. Get close, get close. I want you to see what's happening. Look, everything is getting all sticky. Now, slowly, we're going to add the stock. So we're going to pour red on red. That's how we're going to do it. So you put a little bit of stock. Then you let all the bubble do the job. The secret for this recipe is to make sure that you take your time and you move the spaghetti around the tomato sauce. A little bit more stock. Oh. Now, have a look at this. This is when it becomes now all exciting. Look at the bottom of this pan when it's getting all burnt and crispy. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, okay, Gino, who's going to wash the pan? Well, in this case, it's not going to be my problem. And I'm not going to come to your house to wash your pan. But if you want to do this recipe, this is what you have to achieve. You just have to scrape down and make sure that it gets all crispy. And this is how it's done. A little bit more stock. And I think we are nearly there. Obviously, like every pasta, make sure that it's al dente, because if it's not al dente, the pasta, you may as well pick it up and throw it in the bin. Okay. I am happy with the pasta. Now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to switch everything off. Just let it rest for about 30 seconds, no more than that. Meanwhile, I've prepared a nice fresh salad, because I think when you eat dishes like this is going to be quite strong in flavor, the tomato sauce. Then you got the chili, then you got the garlic. Serve it with something fresh. So I'm using what the local call cucumarazzi. It's got the hint of a melon. This is the way I like it to dress. Extra virgin olive oil. This is a very typical Italian dressing. So there you go. Red wine vinegar. Like this. A little bit of salt. And the job is done. It should be all nice and sticky. All right. Now look at that. See, this is pretty much like a spaghetti pomodoro, just cooked in a very bizarre way. Spaghetti all'assassina. And this is how it's done. Next time, hey Bella, the piglets are coming. I'm on the hunt for some meaty snacks. This is truly amazing. Discovering the traditions of the Istria Valley in magical Puglia. Mamma mia. I'm getting addicted to Camopollo now.
Love Island. Coming soon to ITV2 and ITVX.
I am being extradited for a crime that I did not commit.
What am I in the middle of? If it is murder, the killer is still on board.
Red Eye. Available now on ITVX.
And now, with all the very latest news, travel and weather this Tuesday. It's Good Morning Britain. Good morning, Britain. The fallout from the blood inquiry. School children used as guinea pigs injected with infected blood. Rishi Sunak apologises for Britain's day of shame. Now ministers prepare to announce a £10 billion compensation package. We'll hear from one of the school survivors as calls grow for justice against those who caused the damage.
Well, many of those whose decisions ended and ruined lives are now dead themselves or are very old. There still could be, though, a case for corporate manslaughter against institutions that were involved. And there are calls this morning for Lord Ken Clarke to be removed from the House of Lords after the inquiry found that he misled the public over the risk of AIDS.
Breaking news this morning, a woman in her 50s has been killed after being attacked by her 2 XL bully dogs at home in East London.
Armed police with riot shields apparently entered the house. According to neighbours, the dogs were registered and have now been seized by officers.
Also this morning, boot camps for benefit claimants. Ministers say out-of-work Britons will be trained up to fill job gaps in areas like care and construction, so we rely less on foreign workers. We'll speak this morning to the MP in charge.
News of the Princess of Wales. She's given her backing to a new report on the importance of family-friendly working while she continues her own cancer treatment. While she's not actually yet returning to work, she's still said to be driving her passion projects vigorously from home.
A day of sunny spells and scatter showers, some of them heavy and thundery, and the outlook turns wetter. I'll have more details of that and more coming up. Good morning, Britain.
Tuesday, 21st of May, 2024. Live from Television Centre in London. This is Good Morning Britain with Susanna Reid and Richard Madeley.
Good morning, Britain. It has just gone 6 o'clock. Also this morning, we are debating something which has really set people alight this week, which is the idea that if you were going to serve a prison sentence of less than 12 months, you now won't go to
You don't go to jail.
prison at all.
End of the short, sharp shock, as we used to call it. Yeah, so basically, if a judge thinks that he would have given you 6 months, 9 months, 11 months, whatever, he won't anymore. She won't anymore. You'll be given community service.
Yeah.
And that's going to apply to burglars, repeat offenders, muggers, car thieves, you name it.
So we are going to debate that this morning. It is our debate after 8 o'clock with a former Metropolitan Police officer who says this is outrageous and people should serve time in jail for these serious crimes which have victims.
Well, let's be clear. The reason for this proposal is nothing to do with justice. It's to do with the overcrowding of our prisons. That's the problem. There aren't enough cells to put them in.
That's the suspicion, but we have somebody who is going to put the case that the short, sharp shock simply doesn't work. And actually, it doesn't result in rehabilitation for people. It actually makes things worse. So I think, and he has served jail time, this particular
Well, then that begs the question, doesn't it? What is prison for? Is it about rehabilitation and only rehabilitation, or is it actually in itself and in its own right a punishment and a deterrent to others not to commit the crimes? I mean, it's not that simple.
No, and if you are the victim of one of these crimes, you probably want to see the offender serve prison time.
Absolutely.
Because you want that punishment element. You might even want that protection element. So we are debating that this morning. Do let us know what you think. Now, though, our main news this morning, the final report into the infected blood scandal confirmed that school children were used as guinea pigs and as objects of research while the risks of contracting hepatitis and HIV were ignored. Today, the government sets out its plans for billions of pounds of compensation for the thousands of victims. The Prime Minister offered a wholehearted and unequivocal apology to those affected and called it a day of shame for the British state.
Now, obviously, all this comes after that 5-year investigation found that there were deliberate, knowing attempts to cover up mistakes made by doctors, made by government ministers, and by the NHS. Yes, that led, of course, to thousands of patients knowingly, or not knowingly to them, given contaminated blood products and transfusions.
Well, our chief correspondent Richard Gaisford is at Westminster this morning. The Prime Minister has pledged the government will pay whatever it costs in compensation, including to people who so far haven't been eligible, presumably.
Yeah, and we know at least 3,000 people have already died, so for them it is too late. Others living still with the medical consequences of what they have been through.